Welly, welly, well. It's 4/13/22. I'm over here at the Havenhurst ramp. We had sort of walked away from this ramp because it had been burned out for a while. But now it seems that if you leave something alone for a bit, it grows anew. It refreshes. I was while Panhandling is like on the ramps and over with a sign. They call it flying sign. Are you flying sign? You must have a lot of zen, and it gives you a lot of time to think about yourself. Now, being older, having gone through a lot of hardships, now, don't get me wrong, I've had a spectacular life. There's been a lot. I've been in the richest places. I've done the highfalutin shit. But, time changes everything. So, I tend to be more honest in my self-assessment, my self-criticisms. Especially given the results speak for themselves. Now, mind you, there's people that have everything on top of the world and they still lose it. Bad shit happens to good people, but bad shit happens to bad people more often. I have not been a great person all my life, but there's been parts that have been good. So I guess that's where I get occasional blessings from. But during the course of my thinking time, I've been able to come to some really radical conclusions, given anybody's own thought processes about themselves. Nobody wants to accept the hard truths about themselves. But when you are faced with annihilation and destitution, I don't have a choice. That may be the way I am then, that I learn things only through finite circumstances. Like, this is what it is, dude. If you don't want to understand it, that's fine, but to have the pieces fall into place requires objective, critical thinking. And part of that means that in order for me to accept some truths about myself, I have to accept a lot of things that have been said about me over the years that I've rejected out of hand completely. And now I think, oh, well, maybe, was it ego keeping me thinking differently all these years? Was my own pride? Because they say pride goeth before the fall. And I think that's true. When it comes to being selfish, I don't feel like I'm selfish. I don't consciously think about being selfish. I would love to think of myself as a benevolent person, but it turns out that selfishness might entail more than just being stingy with dollars. It could be selfish with your time, selfish with your criticisms. Nice car. That is badass. Selfish with your praise and compliments. I like hearing praise and compliments, and maybe I should have given out more. Sometimes, like for instance, being in comedy, I would hear somebody that was extremely funny, and I kind of resented them for it. Not because I thought they were obstructing my path to success, but because they were just funny, and I wasn't. And I should have told other people when I was doing comedy that they were funny, because there was a lot of people that I know that were really funny, but you know, the comedy, doing stand-up comedy is an ego-driven industry. It's all about self. You go up alone, you either crush it alone or you die alone. Same thing with building. I think a lot of people, over the years looking back, have looked to me for reassurance and validation. And although I could have given it to them, I should have, I didn't, because to do so would almost be to bolster competition, to feed the enemy, but they weren't the enemy, you know. I've had to come to realizations about my personal drive and motivations of working. I still contend that for the most part, I actually do love working. There's a certain sort of a chemical release that makes you feel good if you physically or even mentally work, accomplish your goals, and get ahead for the next day. The task of work in itself has value. Doesn't matter what the work is. Whatever the work is, I mean, I've done everything from writing computer code to sweeping dirt on a construction site. When it comes to even something as simple as sweeping the floor, there are methods to that. There's a way that people do it to economize time and effort. Like they talk about writing code that is elegant and articulate. Well, the same thing goes for any task. Digging, flipping a hamburger, anything could be honed down to the perfection. I use the analogy often of snow skiing. Most people find it extremely hard at first and just fight the snow the whole way down, because it feels a little bit like falling. As the steeper the slope, especially that much. But after a while, when you start to know where the ground is and where your feet are, where you are in relation to it, you realize you can just lean forward just a tiny fraction of a degree And it makes the difference between plowing through it and gliding through it. And how you can use the snow to slow or create speed. It's the same as work. If you lean just slightly more into it, it becomes easier because now you become almost weightless and your limbs can do the work while your body's not having to fight gravity. When it comes to work, like especially construction's another job. Even though it's full of rough and tumble guys, they are at heart artistic and creators. Because a builder like myself, even though he's working with plans, he can impart his own little mark, his own signature to a project by virtue of rapidity, cleanliness, economy of motion, the lack of frivolous details, clean cuts, straight walls. This goes on, and tolerance. Tolerance is something that I've always had trouble with. I've always expected a lot, and I've always given little. The way I did it in construction was I figured that when I was running jobs, if I paid people enough, I was allowed to just use and abuse them in whatever way I wanted. I thought they knew that. Apparently not. It turns out that in friendships I've been somewhat abusive and selfish because I thought everybody thought like me. It's weird. It's weird. And I realized with panhandling, once again, I need money. We live in Los Angeles, California. Gas is now generally at $6 a gallon. Everything is far. Everything that you do takes money. To just drive around takes a lot of money. To go eat takes a lot more money. If you smoke cigarettes, that takes a lot of money. And the difference between $2 and $4 and $5 and $6 a gallon, each dollar translates out into everything else going up that much more. Anytime there's an increase in gas, you're going to see it directly reflected at the supermarket, especially the supermarket. Oh my God, the price of meat is just beyond ridiculous. So I have to do it. I don't have a choice. Right now, my ankle is infected. It's fucked up and infected. It hurts like shit. I should be at a doctor. I should go to the hospital. I have no choice. Tracy is blind. she would go out. She's been out here and made money. She'll go out whether or not she makes money. And she's blind. When she's not blind, Tracy will just beat the world down until it conforms to her way. God bless her, because she is a brutal trooper. If she believes that she's doing something for somebody or something that she loves, you cannot stop her. And she gets so much more shit from people as people throw shit at her, say shit to her. One guy over at the Commons the other day said, "Stop pretending you're being blind, fucking bitch." And she's blind. Who would tell a person in a wheelchair, "Stop pretending you can't walk, you fucker"? You know, that's because these people are just shit. And the worst part is that I have always told her the world was shitty, and yet, so finally, after all these years, all these circumstances, she's come to believe this and hate people, hate the world. This is totally polar opposite the way she is naturally. She doesn't hate people. She doesn't want to hate people. But she does. So, turns out, hey, I won. I convinced her. Am I proud of what I've done? No. Because it's taken this beautiful flower of a person and turned him into a wilted, blackened old piece of grass. I get so much time on my hands, and my head will go through so many spins. Doofy, oh man, I can barely talk about him still. Doofy and I used to come out here. He spent endless hours. Had I known I could make money without him, I wouldn't have dragged that poor bastard along with me forever. But also, it gave us a lot of time to bond. The last few years, there was nothing that we didn't do together. And at times I would resent him for it. Poor guy. But he would sit out there like a trooper until we left, because he just wanted to be around me. The ironic part is, I wish you were here now, but I'm glad he's not. And I have had to come to the conclusion also, when we first got homeless, Tracy's always maintained that we are not going to be able to get out of this without help. And I said, no, we can do this. My male ego, arrogant pride. I could do it. I could do it. And then, no, I can't. I can't. And I'm hoping that we are not stuck this way till the day we die, although it does occur to me that there's a distinct possibility. this shit where the rest of the world lives and we fucking eat shit is not gonna continue much longer. If she dies before me, oh man. Because underneath it all, I'm a survivor. And if I ever end up on the street by myself, I won't be on the street long by myself. I'll either be dead, locked up, or rolling fat because I took somebody's shit. But because I'm not willing to risk being away from her because she needs me. And the cops have already proven themselves to be vindictive, fucking relentless juggernauts of fucking shit. If I even crap outside the designated circle, it's gonna go south quick. So it's not like anybody out here on the Rams or whatever on Panhandling hasn't thought about what they're doing. It's not like they haven't explored other options. I don't know anybody who wants to do this. Nobody. Nobody wants to be here. I defy anybody to have the same circumstances and to be gainfully employed, or to even to be able to get a fucking job without an address. I don't see how you do it. And besides, what kind of job am I going to get? I've been used to making $25 or more an hour for the last 30 years. What? I'm going to go get some $15 an hour minimum wage fry cook job? Are you kidding me? It's not going to happen. Wouldn't pay the bills anyway. And then not even be able to work full time. But it is very expensive to be poor. We're constantly buying food, throwing food away. Expensive shit. We have no way to store it. Hi. How are you? Thank you very much. And so it begins. And I see all these people come and judge me, and I really don't care. I really don't. Because most of them, people are shallow. They just follow along and it's all good. I find that although somewhat depressing, even when I do good out here, there's still a value to me, because every time I do this is just one more day I stave prison off. Because my brain says, why be poor? why not just go take somebody's shit? Yeah. And I might be 62 and got some... But when I'm in a place to where there's like young buck gangsters running around, I do not feel afraid. There's a part of me that is quiet inside that says, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hoping one of them will get froggy and try and fucking fuck with me, because I have so much pent up anger and frustration. I just need a human body to take it out on. There's instrumentation and vocals, and they got good voices and all, you know. That's all that really matters. It's music. It's better than pre-programmed fucking pencils tapping on a desk for fucking percussion and bullshit rhymes. I just feel like I'm in a time out of time. Like I had a regular life, and now we have this sort of side pocket dimension, and then we're going to end up back in regular life again. I've got that book One Time that I'm working on. I don't know if I can find all the material I had for it, but I'm just going to start typing tonight. I'm going to take time. I'm going to have that done here in a couple weeks. I have the majority of it fleshed out. That'll make the second one. And then it's on to Catastrophicus Major. That'll be a good one. That'll be a fun one to do. End of the world shit, folks. End of the world.